All right, good morning to everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to our MLS tips and tricks class. This is a class where we are going to cover many different ways that we can utilize the MLS, normally not covered in our MLS basic or advanced training. So, this is definitely a class for you to learn different ways to utilize the MLS to help you in your business. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves, ask questions. This class is an open forum. Really, it's for you, Elite Ocean View Realty agents. All right, guys, so we're gonna access CoreLogic Matrix, which is the MLS. We're gonna go ahead and click on CoreLogic Matrix. That's gonna get us into the MLS system. As you guys all know, inside the MLS, you do have access to all the properties listed here in Southeast Florida, all the way from Miami-Dade up to St. Lucie County, right? And you guys can always search by RE1, which is single family home, RE2. You got residential multifamily income. This is going to be your duplex and triplex and fourplex. You have residential land. This is your vacant lots for residential purposes. Then you have your RNTs, which is all of your rentals. So when you're looking for a property to rent, then you have your CLD, which is your commercial land, commercial improved, agricultural, business, and industrial land. Then you have your commercial properties. Anything for lease or for sale that's considered commercial will be under COM. And then lastly, you do have business brokerage, which allows you to select properties, or not properties, but businesses that are for sale. All right, businesses that are for sale. All right, guys, what we may not cover in other classes is things like a cross property search. A cross property search allows you to combine any of these property types together in one search. So when I come over here, we're going to go ahead and click on cross property, and we're going to go and click on quick. And this is going to allow us to run a search for single family, condo, multifamily, residential land, residential rental, commercial industrial, and business brokerage all together in one search. Why may you need to do this? Well, sometimes you've got a client that says, "Hey, Robert, I'm looking for a single family home or a duplex." So then you select single family home or multifamily income. Like now you're going to get results that are of single family or multifamily. If you were to run a more traditional search like an RE1, RE2, that only allows you to search for a single family or a condo. And then, of course, if you were to run a multifamily income search, that only allows you to search for duplex, triplex, and fourplex. So the cross property search allows you to search for multiple property types in one search. Then, of course, everything else is going to be the same. What is your client's price range? How many bedrooms and bathrooms do they desire? What location? And go find the property. All right, so I just really wanted you to know about the cross property search, which allows you to mix the different property types. All right. All the other searches you see down here, like open house, if you're interested in maybe visiting an open house this upcoming weekend, you can always click on open house and say, "I am looking to visit an open house this coming weekend on the 31st of January." And this is going to be an open house, of course. You're going to go ahead and say, "My clients mostly interested in open houses in Coral Gables." And we're going to click on search, and there are no open houses in Coral Gables this weekend. Wow. All right. There are no open houses in Coral Gables. Let's go with Pembroke Pines, see if there's anything going on in Pembroke Pines. And this weekend we're gonna hit search. And yeah, there are 16 open houses scheduled this weekend on Saturday in Pembroke Pines. And they tell you the times when they start. And you can always click on the MLS number to see more details on the open house, right? So when you click here, you're going to see that this is from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and this is going to be this Saturday on the 31st of January. All right, and then details on the property. All right, so that's how you search for an open house. So if you're interested in maybe visiting an open house, that's what you would do. You would go ahead and visit the open house and take your client, or maybe go on your own if you're trying to just find out what's going on. All right. So that's your search and that's your open house. All right. Now let's go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the hot sheets and what hot sheets are for. You'll notice in my home screen right here, I have hot sheets and I have a few custom searches that you see there. I'm going to go ahead and click on customize and I'm going to click on restore to system defaults. I want my hot sheets to look brand new like it does to everyone else if you're not using hot sheets. Take a look. Whenever you log into the MLS for the first time, or if you've never used hot sheets, it's going to look exactly this way. Hot sheets are ways for us to set up customized searches that we can always view results within the last 24 hours, within the last 3 days, within the last 7 days, or you can go custom and go back up to 30 days. So let's go ahead and customize our hot sheets. And I'm going to click on customize and I'm going to delete every single hot sheet you see here. All right. Now, guys, if you are already familiar with hot sheets and you've already created a few, you do not have to follow me. I don't want you deleting your hot sheets, but if you're brand new to hot sheets, I definitely want to show you how to use them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete every single hot sheet that is given to me by Matrix as a default and we're going to begin brand new, right? We're going to go ahead and finish deleting these, and you must delete these one at a time. So once you delete them, you're going to see that they're all clean. There's no hot sheets, and I can always restore the system defaults. Now I'm not going to do that anymore. We already did that. My next step is to click on add. All right. So you can have a hot sheet of any property type, single family, condo, residential land, residential rental, any. So let's stick with single family and condo. And then for the name, let's go ahead and enter the name of maybe a subdivision. All right, let's say I'm extremely interested in a subdivision and I want to have a customized search for this subdivision. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here Lakes on the Green, right? Lakes on the Green is a community in Miami Lakes, and we're gonna go ahead and just save it. All right. All we've done right now is name a hot sheet. We haven't entered the criteria. So now we're gonna click on edit criteria and we're gonna enter the criteria. So whenever I tap to the hot sheet, what activity do I want to see? So here we have all of our statuses. I want to see new listings. I want to see any listings that were placed back on the market. I want to see any price decrease. Okay. Maybe I want to see price increase. Maybe I want to see any active with contract. Definitely want to see any canceled, closed, pending, and expired listings. All right. Those are the ones I want to see. Maybe terminated, but let's just leave terminated outside. Terminated basically means canceled listings. All right. I want to see anything that's new, back on the market, price went down, price went up, any active with contract, any canceled listings. Sorry, canceled is canceled. So what's terminated? That's a question for the trainer right there. What's terminated? Anyways, canceled, closed, pending, and expired. All right. So now, what type of property are you looking for? Go down here to property type and select single family home. And then, is it a city, right? Is it a zip code? Is it a particular building address, right? We're going to go with subdivision name, right? And it's not the city of Atlantis. Let's go with subdivision name and it's Lakes on the Green. And it's Lakes on the Green located in Miami-Dade County. That's all really I have to enter. We're going to go ahead and click on save. And we now have our first hot sheet created. Let's click on done and let's show you. Here's my hot sheet with Lakes on the Green. in the last 7 days, right? We can go 3 days, 24 hours. In the last 7 days, this is the activity on Lakes on the Green. All right. Right here, we have an active listing and another active listing. So two new listings hit the market in Lakes on the Green. One of them has an open house. So if you click here, you're going to see that this is a new listing with no photos. That's so bad, right? The listing was entered yesterday, so we hope that they will enter photos at some point. But this is the listing. It is a three-bedroom, two-bathroom. It is 1,756 square feet. There is an open house already scheduled for Saturday, February 7th between 1 and 3 p.m. All right, so it is a brand new listing, and they're gonna go ahead and do an open house right away. The next listing on this list is this one right here. It's $595,000. This is the listing. It's a smaller home, right? And this is on 193rd Street and 91st Avenue. Let's take a look. You see some pictures of the home. All right, the home has a swimming pool, and they're currently listing this property at 595. And that is the activity so far in the last 7 days. If I want to see the activity for 30 days, then go to custom, click right here where it says Lakes on the Green, and then go ahead and open up your calendar here and go back to, let's say, the furthest you can go back is 30 days. So to the 28th of December. So when I click on run, this is all the activity since the 28th of December at Lakes on the Green. So there was one closed sale, and that's $785,000. There was one canceled listing. There was a price decrease by 2.65%. There was a back on the market, there was another back on the market, and there was three new listings hit the market within the last 30 days at Lakes on the Green. So you see, Hot Sheets allows you to check real quickly on any customized search you may make going back up to 30 days. So let's go ahead and repeat the process. Customize, right? Customize. I'm going to go ahead and click on add. And then I'm going to put this here, homes in 33317. Why am I interested in seeing homes in 33317? Because I have a listing for sale at zip code 33317. So now that I created the name, now we're going to come here and say, show me all new, back on market, price decrease, increase, active with contract, cancel, close, pending, and expired listings. And show me this in zip code 33317. And then come down here and select single family home. And if you want to put bedrooms and bathrooms, you can. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it this way. And let's click on save. Let's click on done, and let's check in the last 7 days what activity is actually going on in zip code 33317. So there's 35 different statuses in the last 7 days. There's all these active listings. There is these two back on the market, all these price decreases, and then there is a few others here. And then you can go to the next page here and see you have these sales, right? CS, that's closed sale. So you have one, two, three, four sales. And then you have all of these under contract. PS means pending sale. Those are all under contract. So yeah, there is some movement there in zip code 33317. Again, this is great when you have a listing and you want to update your client on what's going on in the last 7 days. You click there, you have all of this. You can click on all and you can share a link to all of these properties. You can email them to your client. You can print a report, whatever it is that you guys want to do. All right. So you can fill up your hot sheet, guys, with as many as you want. Just click on customize, click on add, and begin adding different hot sheets. Does anyone have any questions on what we just did with the hot sheets? All right. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and move on with something else. When you're representing a seller, even when you're representing a buyer, there is a report that's extremely important for you guys to learn how to run, and that is the market conditions report. So we're going to go ahead and visit the option up here called More, and we're going to click on Market Reports. All right. When you click on market reports, you're going to go here to the left and you're going to look for the market conditions report, which is also known as the 1004 MC report. Every single appraisal that takes place, every appraiser is going to run a market conditions 1004 MC report. So as realtors, it's obviously something that you guys want to learn how to run as well. So we're gonna compare the market conditions and we're gonna run what's known as a inventory analysis. So we're gonna select active and we're gonna select closed and we're gonna go back 365 days. We want to see, right? We want to see any single family home that's sold and compare that to how many are available in today's market. Now, since I have a listing in zip code 33317, naturally I want to run this report and see how the market is behaving in this zip code. This zip code is in Broward County. I'm going to click on generate report and let's take a look. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so you see a little bit. You're going to look at three columns, and the first column goes back to January 27th of last year, right? And then for the next 6 months. The middle column goes for 3 months from July 27th of last year through October 26th of last year. And then the last column goes from October 27th of last year through today's date, January 27th of 2026. Now take a look at each row. The first row is the number of closed sales, right? Settled. There were 49 closings of single family homes in zip code 33317 within the last 3 months. When you divide 49 by 3 months, you are left with 16 and a third properties per month. That's also known as your absorption rate. All right, that's the number of properties that are sold per month. So when you have 49 in total over a 3 month period, divide that by three, and you're looking at 16.3 properties per month. Now, the third row mentions how many active listings do we have in the market today. So right now in zip code 33317, there are 95 active single family homes for sale. Okay. Now, when you grab 95 and you divide that by 16.3, you are left with just under 6 months of inventory. So compare that to 1.95, right? 1.95, and then all the way up to 6 months of inventory. What's going on with the inventory? Take a look. 55 active listings, 48 active listings, and then we jumped up to 95 active listings. So the market is being saturated with more listings. There are more opportunities for buyers to buy a property. Is this a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? What is this inventory favoring? Who is it favoring, buyer or seller?
It's a buyer market.
It's a
Buyer market.
it's a buyer's market, right? Anyone who's ever done inventory would know that this is a buyer's market. Now, traditionally, between 0 and 3 months, it is considered a seller's market, right? There isn't many listings, there isn't many competition, and you can generally get away with asking for more money and selling the property for more money. Between 4, 5, and 6 months, it is more of a stable market. It's more of a normal market, right? And then 7 months or more, you are now teetering into the buyer's market, like a robust buyer's market. Too many options for the buyer. and not enough advantage to the seller. So we are pretty much in a normal situation right now in this zip code, which is in Plantation in Broward County. You're looking at property prices. This is the sales price median, all right, hovering right around 640, 610, 620. So it's right around 620 is your median price. And properties are selling at 95.5% of the original price. What does that mean? That means that buyers are purchasing the property at a 5% discount from the list price, right? So when they're closing a deal 5% less than the asking price. And that was the same 3 months ago. And it wasn't the same, the first 6 months of our study. It was actually higher. So buyers were getting less of a discount back over here than they were getting a 5% discount pretty much in the last 6 months. So study the market, see what's going on. Very interesting to note that the list prices, these are listings only, the list prices have gone up. 630, 671 or 661, sorry, and then now up to 675. So that basically reflects that the 95 listings that there are on the market are up, right? The list prices are up, while the uh, sales prices, the highest it was in the last year was during January of last year through July of last year. And then they have fallen off quite a bit, 610 and 620. So the prices are down. All right. Very important for you to know this, guys. An appraiser is also going to include this in their appraisal report, and they're going to use this to determine the markability and the sellability of that property. So it's definitely something that you guys want to learn how to run. You don't have to do it for a zip code. You can do it for an entire city. I can come over here, erase a zip code, and go here and put in Plantation, right? All of Plantation single family home, and let's see how the number differs. Let's see if there's any difference. 33317 was just one zip code in Plantation. But as you can see, even in Plantation, the entire city of Plantation inventory is rising. We went from 152 active listings down to 126 and now up to 209. So within the last 3 months, going back to, just before November 1st until today's date, we've increased our inventory. Therefore, we've increased our months of inventory, right? Just slightly under 5 months of inventory. And the prices in Plantation are pretty much holding steady. 695, 686, 690. All right, so you can expect to pay on the median a price just under $700,000 for a single family home. And in Plantation, you're looking at a 99.29% of the original price down to 98.21% of the original price, and then up to 98.5% of the original price. So, it tells you a lot. Now, if you guys want to see what a buyer's market really looks like, I'll show it to you. I'm going to go ahead and click on condo. Let's go to Miami-Dade. And let's go and do Sunny Isles, right? Sunny Isles Beach. This is obviously a condo market, right? There's no single family homes or very little single family homes in Sunny Isles. We're gonna go ahead and click on generate report, and you guys will see what a real condo or a real buyer's market looks like.
Oof.
Right? So inventory has increased, probably almost doubled, right? From 603 active listings to now just under 1,200 active listings. There are 22.8 months of inventory. That's a lot. That means that without one more listing entering the market, it's going to take us about 2 years to sell every single property that's currently on the market. In all of Sunny Isles, they're selling 51 properties per month, and there's 1,171 active listings. So that is a buyer's market. All right. Strangely enough, list prices are holding steady. 790, 795, 795. You would think that in a buyer's market, sellers are going to adjust their pricing and bring it down to try and sell it quicker, but not the case. You're looking at property selling at 94% of the original price. All right. And if you guys want to do just one building in Sunny Isles, for example, I'm gonna go ahead and put in here 160. I think this is I think that's the address. All right, 16001 Collins Avenue. This should be an address in Sunny Isles. Yeah, it is. So take a look. So this is one of the Trump Towers in Sunny Isles, and within the last 3 months, no sales. So if you are selling a property at the Trump and especially at the 16001 Collins Avenue, you're looking at no activity in the last 3 months, yet our inventory went from 14 up to 25. Okay. And since there was no activity, there is no sales price. There is an active listing price, and it's gone up from 1,000,007 to 1,000,748. So it's actually rised quite a bit. All right. This is for one building. So you can run this report for any building address. You can run it for any zip code. You can run it for any city. You can run it for any subdivision name as well. So you can pretty much run this report. You can even draw on a map, right? You can even draw on a map. Any questions from the market report? That's the more and then the market reports, which is right up here. All right. All right, guys, let's go to stats. Stats is a really cool indication of how the general market is behaving. So when you go to stats, you guys have all these preset stats over here on the left-hand side. I am going to show you three of them. I'm going to show you the historic count of active listings. I'm also going to show you the sales by year, which is the volume of sales. And then we're going to also tap into the prices. So let's go with active listings and let's go with single family home in Miami-Dade County. Now, this is going to take a little while to compute the numbers, but we're going to go ahead and click on generate and let's see how the single family home market is doing in all of Miami-Dade County. This may take a few seconds because it is computing a lot of numbers. As you can imagine, there's a lot of single family homes in Miami-Dade County, and it's going to give us the active inventory. How are we today versus last year? How are we today versus 5 years ago or even 10 years ago? We get to compare. We get to see if the active listings are going up or down or pretty much holding steady. All right, so here we have our chart. And this chart is going back 5 years. Notice how it goes from today, right? January of 26 down to January of 21. If you guys want to see 10 years, then go over here to customize. And then instead of 5 years, go ahead and select 10 years. Unfortunately, you cannot go further back than 10 years. 10 years is the limit. So let's go back 10 years and let's see what the chart tells us. What do you think we were in active listings back in January of 2016? All right, were we lower or higher? All right, we're going to see the numbers coming up shortly, but I believe we were higher. I believe we had a lot more listings back then than what we have today. Then, obviously, during the COVID years, you see a large dip of listings because a lot of people were buying homes during the COVID years, the pandemic years. That was a really hot seller's market time. I mean, you would go to an open house and there was a line of people outside the door just to visit the open house. By the time the open house was done, there was like maybe five or six offers on the table. You know, that just isn't the case today, right? But if you go back to January of 2016, we were up over 10,000 listings, right, in Miami-Dade County. And then the lowest point within the last 10 years was right around January, March of 2022, where we had just 3,314 listings. So from 10,000 listings down to 3,300 listings, there was no inventory in Miami-Dade County. It was a seller's market, right? It was a seller's market. Then it started to increase a little bit. Interest rates started to rise, making it a more favorable, um, not favorable really, but interest rates started to rise. So basically making it harder for buyers to obtain properties. Therefore, some of the properties that were on the market remained on the market. And this is why the active listings started to rise because it just became a lot more difficult to buy property. All right. So it really didn't favor anyone, the interest rates rising. So if you want to see this in numbers, you click on data and let's take a look. January of 2016, we had 9,852 active listings. January of 2021, we had 4,518 active listings. December of 2025, sorry, um, there you go. December of 2025, we had 6,021. So as you can see, we are actually climbing, right? Let's study all of 2025. 5,860, 6,100, 6,500, 6,500. 6,500 was pretty much the highest number, almost 6,600. Then it started to decrease quite a bit for the remainder of 2025. If you want to see where we are today, then just switch this to year to date 2026 and then click on generate. And year to date 2026, we're going to go ahead and see how many listings we have up until January 27th of 2026, which is today's date. All right, you're going to see that come through. And there are currently 6,070 single family homes for sale. So you guys get to compare and see what the market is doing when it comes to active listings. Now, of course, you guys can click on search and you can go to a city. You don't have to do all of Miami-Dade or all of Broward. I just wanted to give you a general feel. Now, let's go back to presets. Let's take a look at historic sales volume. Sales volume, right? All of Miami-Dade County. Let's click on generate. Let's click on data. And in December of 2025, there were 906 sales. I want you guys to study 2025 so you know more or less how to expect the market to behave during a year's time. So, by just statistics alone, January is always the slowest month of the year. You're looking at January 2025, there were 681 single family homes sold in all of Miami-Dade County. That number began to rise, and then we hit what's called the real estate season here in South Florida, which is February, March, April, May, and then portions of June. And then we pretty much hit during the summer months, we hit somewhat of a stable, no sharp increase, no sharp decrease, pretty much holding steady right around there. So the hottest time to sell in South Florida is going to be February, March, April, May, and June. No one wants to transition during the summer. Everyone's on vacation, everyone's traveling. No one really wants to transition, therefore you do see a lot less. And then obviously as we get into the holiday months, we start to decrease, and then just before the year is over, we have somewhat of a rebound, right? Everyone trying to close out the year. How are the numbers this January? Can anyone tell me before I hit it? Because you guys are going to be pretty shocked. All right. If in December of 2025, there were 906 sales. In January, In January of 2026, up until today's date, which is January 27th, there's been 427 sales. All right. 427 sales. So we've sold only 50% of what we sold in December, we've sold in 2026. So the activity definitely is down. And if you look at, the activity based on January of 2025, granted, we still have all day today, all the way until Saturday to rebound and maybe try and hit this number, but we'll see. All right. I'm looking at the number definitely down, right? Now, if the volume of sales is down and the active listings is also decreasing just a little bit, but decreasing a little bit, how do you think the prices are doing? All right, we're gonna go ahead and click on price trend and we're gonna click on generate and let's see what the prices are doing. All right, so we're gonna see the prices and we're gonna ask the system to show us the median sales price, and we're going to ask the system to show us the average sales price. So I just need the system to catch up, and once it does, we're going to go ahead and click on customize and ask the system to show us the median sales prices and the average sales prices. All right, so give it just a few more seconds. All right, any minute now or any second now. I apologize for it taking long, but I'm doing all of Miami-Dade County. I just really wanted you guys to get a feel for the prices in Miami-Dade County. You know how you maybe read some articles online, maybe watch the television and there's a special report on pricing. It comes from this, right? Whoever they are interviewing, the source comes from the MLS. It's a professional real estate, maybe broker or economic advisor that will tap into the MLS and see how the market is behaving. So you guys can learn to determine the market behavior yourself. You don't have to rely on news articles, right? Or media publications. So let's go over here to customize and let's say that this is showing us the statistic. First statistic is the active listings, the number of active listings. Let's switch that to median sales price. And then the second statistic, let's switch that to average sales price. And now let's click on generate. All right, guys, so this goes back 10 years. In January of 2016, the median sales price for a single family home in Miami-Dade County was 268,500. Fast forward to today, January to December of 2025, the median price for a single family home is $654,000. It has nearly tripled the amount, right? From 268 to 654. I mean, you guys do the math, right? It's nearly tripled in the amount. That is the price. Now, what did the prices do during 2025? 670, 650, 670, 675, right? 665. Then we dropped a little bit and then we rised a little bit more during October and November and then dropped again in December. All right. So that is the current pricing in Miami-Dade County. Now, the prices have pretty much been holding steady above 600,000 since May of 2023, right? Since May of 2023. All right. So prices continue to pretty much hold steady or even increase a little bit, right? So can't really say that the prices are decreasing. You would have to see more than 1 year of price decrease in order to say that prices are decreasing. I mean, would you agree with me on that? You know, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. right? We're going to go ahead and show you that in January, so we go to year to date in January of 2026, the median price for a single family home in Miami-Dade County is now almost $700,000. All right, it's now almost $700,000. So it's 692,795. So, it's a funny market in South Florida. Prices are not reflecting what's actually going on, where it is a buyer's market, right? And in a buyer's market, you tend to see prices go down. Well, that's not happening, right? Prices continue to rise. We still have interest rates in the 6% range, and we still have prices rising. So it is kind of a weird, quirky market here in South Florida. It is where it is. Prices continue to rise, making it slightly more difficult for buyers to purchase their home and also for sellers to sell their home. And we were in a seller's market where everything was great, interest rates were low. You would have a lot more listings and a lot more listings selling quicker. All right. Guys, become masters of your market. Learn how to use the stats section there in the MLS. All right. So we went through the stats, we went through more, and we did the market reports here for market conditions. If you guys want to check the rankings and see who's the top selling agent in your particular area, you guys can always go to the ranking report and you can see. So, for example, if you go to ranking report and you go this year, so just the first 27 days of this year, you can ask for a report for an agent or an office, right? Or a team. Let's just go with an agent, total volume. And let's say that you guys work the city of Sunny Isles. Let's go all the way to Sunny Isles, right? You work the city of Sunny Isles. You want to see who's the top dog in Sunny Isles? Click on generate report. You're going to see the top 25 come up on my screen. All right, so right here we have an agent who already has closed $7 million dollars in January of this year. That was one transaction, $7 million. Dollars. And then you have all the other agents here with their volume. All right, so you guys can pretty much go back several years if you want to, go back only to 2025 and see who was the top selling agent and where all the other agents rank or where all the other offices rank, right? So you guys can do that yourselves. One more thing inside of more, guys. If you're interested in searching properties in maybe Central Florida, right? Tampa, Orlando, areas like that. You guys want to visit more Intramatrix and then go here to the left. And these are all MLSs that we have partnerships with. We have partnerships with the MLS in Georgia. We have partnerships with an MLS in Mexico, California, Colorado, Michigan, Ohio, Northern California. All right, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware. We have partnerships with Missouri and Kansas. And then we have Stellar MLS, which is Central Florida. If you click on Stellar MLS, it's going to open a new window with a new matrix. This new matrix is the Central Florida MLS now. So if you've got a client maybe looking for a property in, let's say, Kissimmee, you guys want to go here to where it says search, right? Residential, do a quick residential search, and just come over here and in the city, put in Kissimmee, all right? So you select Kissimmee there, active, and what type of property is your client looking for? Let's say they're looking for a single family residence in Kissimmee. Price to not exceed $500,000, so 500 minus. And we need a four bedroom, three bathroom, all right, with a swimming pool. Let's go with a private pool, yes. And we've got 47 matches in Kissimmee, under $500,000 with four bedrooms, three bathrooms. Click on it, and you guys get to see the listing right there. All right, and there's your swimming pool. scroll down, and you guys get to see who listed the property, their contact information. So remember, you are licensed in state of Florida. That means that if you have a client that's looking to buy in Orlando, Kissimmee, or Tampa, you guys can sell over there, right? You guys can sell over there. As long as you're willing to drive up there, you guys can sell over there. So you have access to the entire Central Florida MLS, and that's going to be through More, Intramatrix, and then go ahead and click on Stellar MLS, which is Central Florida. If you guys want to search in other areas in Florida, there's actually multiple ways to do this. If you go to your resource panel, you guys can come down here and look for MLS Advantage. All right, notice this little yellow star. I actually have it saved as one of my favorites. So whenever you click on the star and it turns yellow, you're saving it to your favorites. MLS Advantage opens up the MLS statewide. All right, so it opens up the MLS statewide. So all you need to do now it's a different MLS. It's not Matrix, all right? So you gotta kind of relearn the entire system again. But let's say you're looking for properties in Tallahassee, right? Tallahassee, you select over there, and price range and what type of property are you looking for, bedrooms, bathroom, hit search, and you're gonna get results in Tallahassee. All right. You're gonna get results in Tallahassee. So if you guys are looking for properties outside of, let's say, Central Florida or South Florida, then use MLS Advantage, right? Use MLS Advantage, click on it, see all the photos, right? Look through all the listing details, look through the tax details, look through the map and directions. And down here, you should see listing details. Down here, you should see the remarks and who listed the property. Right there, you got the information. I can't believe that you have the owner's information there, but you do. Actually, that's not even the owner's information. That's the actual licensee. All right. Yeah, you should not get the owner's information there. You should get only the licensee and their phone number and email address so you can contact them if you have a client interested in a property in Tallahassee like this. All right. Remember MLS Advantage. Also, guys, in your resource panel, you can always tap into RPR. RPR also has properties that are listed in all of Florida, but not just that. RPR has properties listed nationwide because it is a nationwide program. But if you want to stick in Florida, since we are licensed to sell in Florida, we're going to go ahead and click on residential right here. And then go ahead and select your property type. Let's go with single family home. And listing status, let's go with for sale only active, right? And then come over here and put in, Daytona Beach. All right, let's go ahead and look at Daytona Beach right there. And you're going to get your properties that are on the market. Of course, you have price range, bedrooms, bathrooms, and more filters right here. You guys can add the more filters and then look for the listings, click on it, and now you guys get to see here. This is an active home in Daytona Beach for 1,675,000. That's a nice looking home, right? That's a nice looking home. And you have all the details of the property down below. Description and, property details, listing details, and who to contact, and schools, and so much more. All right. So RPR gives you the details as well. So it just depends on, what the situation is. Are you looking in South Florida? Then use Matrix. Are you looking in Central Florida? Use Matrix, but the Stellar MLS. And if are you looking throughout Florida, use MLS Advantage or even RPR. You're gonna gain information. All right. And not just RPR. I mean, I can come here and I can put in, for example, I'm sorry, not just RPR, but not just Florida. I can come here and put in Boone, right? North Carolina. All right, Boone, North Carolina. And then go ahead and click on search, and I'm gonna get properties in Boone, North Carolina. There you go. Boom. $3.5 million. All right, which is a home in up in the mountains of North Carolina. All right, so you guys have access to properties for sale nationwide. All right. Does anyone have any questions? We've pretty much reached the end of our program. I always try and keep our MLS tips and tricks class different. This is why I always record my class, just to make sure that there's more information provided to you in each and every different class that we do for MLS tips and tricks. All right. So as a reminder, I did record the class, and I am going to now load the class to my YouTube channel so you can rewatch it at a later time. All right, so thank you so much, guys, for attending today's class. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday for our next training. And then Friday from our Coral Gables office, we'll have our end of the month training. All right, folks. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Thank you,
Albert.
it.
Robert.
Have a good one.
Excellent.
All right,
Thank you.
Bye.
bye now.